What's up, people? This is Bryce from the Biz Podcast, and come to you with a much shorter video than last time. Let's talk about Daredevil and the Disney Mafia because they have struck once again. See, Disney originally came up with these Netflix shows because they finally had a way to get smaller characters out to the people without having to necessarily go through the big screen. This was, Marvel Television's way of doing their own thing without having to worry about Kevin Feige because, all the drama between them, which is pretty old news, but they had a big falling out. Okay, Feige had a big falling out. He wasn't trying to play with them anymore. So Feige took his ball and he ran to Papa Disney, or should I, as I call him now, he ran to the family because it's the Disney Mafia now. And now, now Disney's treating Netflix like, I would say, the girlfriend that they had after they kind of broke up with their main thing, and treating them like the rebound girl. They were good for a while, got what they needed out of them, and then they kicked them to the curb when it was time to bounce. See, now that Disney is coming up with their own streaming service, they don't need Netflix anymore. All they need now is to get their properties back. And if we know anything about Marvel, Disney, Ike Perlmutter, what we know is they play the long game, but they strong arm whoever's in their way. They will get their work back. I mean, look at it. They basically strong armed Sony when Sony was in the vulnerable position after Amazing Spider-Man 2. They strong armed them and said, "All right, you guys, you've been messing up a little bit, so how about we take Spider-Man over here, put him in our stuff, and we just gonna let y'all rest for a bit." And we ended up with Spider-Man in the MCU. Now, Fox said, "Hey, we're looking to sell our businesses." So Disney stepped in and said, "Hey, well, we got a little bit of cash over here. We can pony off to you guys. We really want our stuff back too." That's the main reason. Well, not the main reason, but that's a big reason. They really want their stuff back. But that's also the impetus of the main reason what they're doing with Netflix, which is they want work for their streaming service. That's what Disney really wants. They're trying to build this streaming service up to be a rival to Netflix, a rival to Hulu, even though I'll get into that because they don't really need to rival their own business. But they're trying to, they want to be a competitor in the streaming game. So what's the two main things that are important to them right now? The two main money makers, Star Wars and Marvel. So now with their properties, Netflix is the only non-Disney owned property that has their characters in the TV universe. Um, well, okay, not the only one because I don't really count Hulu because they're about to be owned by Disney, and or at least majority share owned by Disney, and Legion and The Gifted, which are X-Men properties. So that's kind of already its own thing dealing with the Fox deal, which once again, don't be surprised if The Gifted and Legion don't come back for next seasons. So don't be surprised if season 2 of The Gifted is its last season, and season 3 of Legion is its last season. Don't be surprised when that happens, because it will. So let's get to this. So back to Daredevil. Daredevil, 3 seasons at Netflix, 3 amazing seasons in my opinion. Like three some of the best 3 seasons of TV, just consistently. Like I know a lot of people have their issues with season 2. Personally, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Punisher, when Elektra came in, oh man, Ellie Young, amazing as Elektra. She did such a great job. And season 2 was amazing. Season 3, in my opinion, capped off a perfect character arc for Matt Murdock, in my opinion. I know some people have their issues with season 3 too, but to me, season 3 ended on a on a really strong note of this is where we can kind of take his character, but this is the end of this journey that we started in season 1, continue to season 2, transition to Defenders, and then capped it, ended off in season 3 of the show. And I said this when Iron Fist was caged. Iron Fist was caged. It was caged. When Iron Fist was canceled, I said this when Luke Cage was canceled, that Disney wants their properties back. The only reason why those shows were canceled were not because of low ratings and low viewership and what they say that there was low engagement with the shows. That's crap. All of that's crap. The only reason why those shows were canceled is because because Disney said, hey, we want this back. We don't have to play ball with you guys anymore. We're taking our ball and we're going home. And there's really nothing you can do about it. And what can Netflix do about it? Netflix owns the rights to the shows, but Marvel produces them. So if Marvel Television says, we don't want to produce this show anymore, Netflix has nothing to do but cancel it. So when Marvel Television's kind of sitting around like, we're just waiting for it to finish, and then boom, it's canceled. So, and then there's Jessica Jones season 3 is going to be the last season of Jessica Jones. They already announced that the showrunner got got a deal with Warner Brothers to work over there for them. So she's already bouncing after season 3, even if they would keep it. But knowing that the other 3 shows are already gone, season 3 is going to be Jessica Jones' last season, and I have zero hopes for that. After season 2, zero hopes for that season. So honestly, I don't even care. I hold the first season near and dear to my heart, but that season 2, yeah, that shit can sit on the bottom of my boot. But and then the Punisher season 2 is also going to be its last season. There's no Disney is taking their stuff, and there's nothing Netflix can do about it. Honestly, at this point, I don't even think Netflix really even cares, just because. So yeah. Let me kind of scroll down just so you guys cannot stare at this one image, even though sad Murdoch is a great image to look at. But this is really Disney just gearing up, and to really hammer home that kind of thought process of this is what Disney is doing. Marvel promises more Daredevil adventures after Netflix cancellation. So pretty much Marvel and Disney came out and said, hey, we're still going to give you these characters just from us instead. Which is this, like you said, this just absolutely proves what I've been saying for a while now, which is from the moment Disney announced that they were planning a streaming service, and I mean this was like last year, I already knew Marvel stuff was gone from Netflix. Anything that was not under Disney's direct ownership is gonna be bounced. So like Freeform will stay, like Cloak and Dagger on Freeform will stay because it's owned by Disney. Agents of Shield is gonna stay because it's owned by Disney. Runaways is more than likely gonna stay because, like I said before, Hulu is going to eventually be under Disney's ownership once the Fox deal goes through. So there's a very good chance that Disney is going to do one of two things. They're either going to tone down the show when they bring it back. So when they bring these characters back, they're going to either tone them down to put them on the Disney streaming service, or they're going to continue giving us the grittiness that we kind of expect from these characters now, and put them on Hulu. But the way I see what's going to happen, the way I see it going is this. I think Disney is going to tone it down and fit it into the MCU because as they've announced already, they're planning on doing smaller MCU shows for some of their characters that they either can't get enough screen time on the big screen or they haven't even introduced. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to transition these characters over to the streaming service, transition them into the MCU that way, and they're just gonna roll the ball like that because we already know Kevin Feige is gonna be in charge of this TV shows on the streaming service, which I am personally 100% on board for. I mean, Kevin Feige taking charge of these characters will probably allow us to actually get much better told. Ooh, that was terrible. Better told stories through at least aside from Daredevil and Punisher, because Luke Cage I liked it, but Luke Cage had its issues. It had its very much issues in the first season. Second season was a little bit better, but for some, for me it was a little bit better. I really liked the villain in the second season, but the writing it was a tad bit off. Luke Cage was not Luke Cage, and that's one thing that you can say about the MCU is that all of their characters are their characters. Every character pretty much acts like their comic counterpart, except in the case of Tony Stark. But that's even better because Robert Downey Jr. gave him a personality that he really didn't have as much. But everyone else acts like who they're supposed to act like. And Luke Cage, Iron Fist, even Jessica Jones and her two two seasons worth of alcoholism. Like I get it, alcoholism is a great thing. Not trusting people is a great thing for a character. I'm all for it, but you cannot do two seasons with the exact same problems. At least you can't do it in a show that touts itself on character growth and character development. Because the only way to have character growth and character development is if you actually let the character change. That means you don't necessarily just take away their flaw until the very end, but you have to give gradual growth. Season 2 literally left Jessica Jones in the exact same position as the beginning of season 2 slash ending of season 1. They didn't touch on what happened in Defenders. They didn't touch on pretty much anything that happened in that show. So that didn't even matter. So, that's hopefully if they get under Marvel, if they get under Kevin Feige's tutelage, these characters can grow even more than they have now. And honestly, I just look at it like how the comics are. Whereas these characters are not solely one person's property. They're for anyone who can come in, who can pen a great story, who can pen a great tale with these characters. They're for them. They're for us, the viewers, the readers. So it's just like any other. It's just like the comics. Somebody comes in and takes over the reins and hopefully gives a great run. If not, boom, cut them out and you bring somebody else in and they tell a story and they pick up the reins. That's why I'm not really sad. I think Daredevil ended on a perfect run. I didn't care. I haven't even watched Iron Fist season 2. That's how little I care about that show. Um, Luke Cage, I don't care because like I said once again, Luke Cage is not the hero that he is in the comics. He's not the family man. He's not the hero. He's not the man who will do anything for his city. I mean, in the show, you literally got a Luke Cage who decided to become a villain by the end of season 2, essentially. But that's not Luke Cage. Luke Cage is a hero for hire. So yes, he'll get paid to be a hero, but at the end of the day, he's a hero. There's a reason why Luke Cage, at least in the comics, there's a reason why Luke Cage was made the leader of the New Avengers team back under Bendis writing. So, there's hopefully, once again, we get some good shows from these characters. Maybe if they're smart, they don't give us an Iron Fist and Luke Cage solo show. They team them up. If they're smart, they give them an entire cast of characters to run with, like the Daughters of the Dragon, which is exactly what we should have got more of in season 2, instead of Colleen becoming the new Iron Fist. Oh man, I'm not gonna. Let's say, like I said, this video is short. I don't want to make this a super long video, but yeah, pretty much this is Disney. This is the Disney Mafia. They coming in, and they're doing what they do, and it's nothing wrong with that. This is their properties. This is their work. So that's it. All right, people. That was it for this video, and hopefully you guys come back and watch the next one, whatever that one's gonna be. There's always new topics, new things in this geek world to discuss. And just a little side note, just to let the viewers know, at least for me, because I'm 1/3 of the Biz podcast, but my taste range, I can go from comics to TV to anime, manga, to video games, anything that deals with geek culture. So that's gonna be a lot of my videos. It's just dealing with geek culture, dealing with different topics. It's never gonna really be like, oh, I'm just the comic guy, or I'm just the TV and movie guy. And I know everyone says that as far as YouTube, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to find one thing and stick into that lane. But that's just not me. So, hey, as Idris said the other day, don't stay in your own lane. All right, guys, that was it, and thank you.